Once upon a time, I was a stockbroker, and that's not the start to a weird fairy tale. It's actually true. The job I had right before working at The Ridge was at Charles Schwab in Indianapolis as a stockbroker. Technically, it's called a registered representative, but stockbroker sounds way cooler. I had to be trained to be able to correctly trade stocks and bonds and talk about Roth IRAs and 401ks and other things with letters and numbers in them. I had to learn a lot about how our economy works, what retirement needs might be, and I remember regularly being challenged with this concept. For us to live comfortably and securely, we just need a little bit more. When it comes to finances and generosity, one of the reasons we have a hard time talking about it is because we believe that we need a little bit more before we can really be generous. If I get out of this debt situation, then I'll give. If I can go on this vacation, then I'll give. If this deal goes through at work, then I'll give. I just need a little bit more. Now, maybe you're thinking, I don't feel like I can contribute much at all. I'm barely scraping by, maybe. This is frustrating to talk about. This is annoying. I'm not trying to, be a consumer or a contributor. I just am trying to make ends meet. And I hear you, I get it. I understand the struggle. Still, I think we need to challenge each other here just a little bit because by and large, most of us, if not all of us, have a lot of what we need. And honestly, and I'm saying this to myself too, even though I sometimes forget it, I have more than what I need. Oftentimes we have everything we need, but we forget sometimes what we need it for. And no, we don't need it to be comfortable or even to pay off our mortgage early or to update to the newest cell phone. Now don't worry, this isn't a new problem. This isn't just a you and me in America problem. This has been a problem for a long time. So much so that Jesus talked directly about this type of thing. Then he told them a story. A rich man had a fertile farm that produced fine crops. See, Jesus is trying to teach us about what we should do if we are in a situation like this. So he tells a story and describes a person who finds themselves with more than what they need. The farmer had a good year. So what did he do? Jesus kept going. This is what he said. He said to himself, "What should I do? I don't have room for all my crops." And then he said, "I know. I'll tear down my barns and build bigger ones. Then I'll have enough room to store all my wheat and other goods, and I'll sit back and I'll say to myself, 'My friend, you have enough stored away for years to come. Now take it easy. Eat, drink, and be merry.'" So far, we kind of like the main character in this story. I kind of want to be like the main character. He had a good year. He's investing and he's expanding his business. So what's the point, Jesus? Maybe his point is about saving, like, look, invest the surplus, start a business, with the proceeds, get to a point that I can just retire and be fat and happy. Have you ever heard that phrase, before? Eat, drink, and be merry? Maybe you even have it hanging up somewhere, like in your kitchen or something. And if you do, you're not going to like the next verse. But God said to him, "You fool, you will die this very night. Then who will get everything you worked for?" Jesus, that's hurtful. Was that even necessary? Is that when I get a raise, I could die the next day? That's what I need to remember? Well, no, but also yes. See, Jesus is reminding these people in the crowd, look, it's not about being rich financially. It's about being rich spiritually. It's about a relationship with God. It's about living for Him. Here's another way of saying it. It's not about what you have. It's what you do with what God has given. It's not wrong to be rich. It's not wrong to have a good year. It's not wrong to be in the top 5% or 1% or 0.1%. That's not the point. The point isn't what you have or don't have. The point is no matter what you have, if you simply store it up for yourself and you don't think about how to honor God with what you have, you're missing the point. It's not what you have, it's what you do with what God has given. But just like the farmer in the parable, we forget that the point of what we have isn't for our own benefit. And just like the farmer, how we use our treasure reveals who we are. Matthew 6:21 says, "Wherever your treasure is, there the desires of your heart will be also." I have everything I need, but I forget what I need it for, to have a rich relationship with God. So take a minute right now and think about all the things that God has given you, all the time that you've had, all the talent that you've been given, all the treasure that's been stored up. your family, your house, your car, your friends, your passions, your hopes. All of this has been given generously to you. God has given you much, not because we're consumers and we deserve it, but because we're loved and God is generous. And he wants us to use what he gave us so generously to then draw closer to him, to have a rich relationship with him. And one big way we can pursue this rich relationship with him is through our own generosity. So here's the point. Jesus tells us, here's the last verse. Yes, a person is a fool to store up earthly wealth, but not have a rich relationship with God. Thinking about what God has given and how he's challenging us to use it to make an impact with him challenges the me-centric world that we're in. What we have is not about the compounded interest we get after investing it well. We are generous because God is generous with us. The biggest example of God's provision is Jesus and the cross. God loved us so much that he sent Jesus to die on the cross for us. That's the most wildly generous thing I can think of, that level of love and sacrifice. God loves us so much, he sent Jesus to die on the cross, but sometimes we know what we have, but we forget what we have it for. God makes things right with Jesus, and one of the reasons I want to be generous financially is to thank God for his generosity with me. How's God prompting you to be generous? I believe he is today. My hope is that your generosity draws you into deeper relationship with God, that it reminds you how loved you are, how you can live outside of what you want and contribute in a way that is powerful. It's a way to thank God for what he's done for you through Jesus, and it's a way to be a part of helping other people know the same hope, the same joy, the same peace that comes from that rich relationship with God. So, what's your answer? How is God prompting you to be generous today?